Happy day. I hope you're doing insanely well. I'm here with my good friend in the business and partner, Phil. We are going to have some fun with you. Just to give you some background, he accomplished 9 sales. My goodness, 9 sales in 2 days for $7,513 and some change in AP. Amazing. Okay, how he's taking care of consumers. But full disclaimer, do not expect to do this when you're new. Understand 90% of insurance agents don't make it in this industry. So just understand this business is very simple, but let me tell you, it's not easy. So as you're watching this interview or any of my interviews, understand this is a very simple business, but it's not easy. So a lot of agents don't make it, but let me tell you, when you make it, it's a beautiful thing. So Phil, say howdy. Thank you for joining us today.
How's it going, Jason? I'm glad to be here, man.
Doing well, my friend. And for the audience, Bill and I have known each other for a couple years.
Yes, sir.
You and I first met. Where did we first meet, brother?
You had a conference down in Atlanta, Jason, and you were talking about I think it's your telesales marketing conference, and I went through that training with you. We got a chance to meet in person. I learned a ton, learned an absolute ton, and it really, really turned my sales around. Not only that, in addition to great training, I made a great friend, man. You and I talk all the time, and that friendship has been invaluable.
I'm so grateful, brother, for relationships that you and I have and the relationships that our team has. That means the world to me. And you did insurance prior to, paying and running out to another state to the conference out there in Georgia. You have a little bit of insurance background. Was that right?
It was, again, I was with a different agency, and it was a situation to where, again, I was getting some support, but not the type of support that I saw I could get from you. And that's what obviously prompted me to come with your agency. And as a result, again, I learned a few things, but again, it wasn't the telesales aspect. And that was really what I was missing when I started off as an agent.
Now, with your income, were you ever, because now you're a 6-figure plus agent, were you ever a 6-figure plus agent prior?
No, I was not. I was paying the bills. I was,
Sure.
providing the income for my family, which is obviously what my goal is. But I was not accomplishing at the level I am today. That's for sure.
And crazy proud of you, brother. Like the way you work. And now it's almost like habitual behavior, for you. It's like you're regularly just taking care of great people so consistently. Now, for everybody in the audience, we don't always hit 9 sales in 2 days. Okay. It's a
Certainly.
beautiful thing, right? Just so the audience knows, like, enjoy the ride. It's amazing. Like when you get these little amazing hits of greatness, right? Because they do come, but Phil is extremely consistent where he's constantly writing, constantly taking care of sweet people, and he's making great income. But when you first start off in the industry, understand there's no guarantee of success. It's
Oh, there's
amazing
not.
things, but it's a head funk, isn't it, brother? At times.
Well, it's tough, Jason. And for me, one of the things that I had to overcome, I'm a guy who likes accolades. I was previously a school teacher. I was one of those school teachers that students liked. They could come to me. My colleagues thought highly of me. So I was always getting the pat on the back. Going into insurance sales, particularly as an independent agent, you're out there on your own. Now, granted, we've got our team. Our team is very supportive, but it's that idea that, you get out there and somebody's hanging up the phone on you. Why are you calling me? Leave me alone. You're bothering me. There's something that'll cuss you up one side and down the other. And when you're getting started, you're thinking, wow, what did I do wrong? And you have to realize and kind of thicken your skin a little bit and realize, it's not me. I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. I can't control what other people do. I can only control what I do. And that was really a reckoning that I had to come to. And when I realized that I can control me, but not them, made this job a whole lot easier. But yeah, it's definitely a head game because, like you say, I had a good run. I had a couple of days there, sold a lot of policies. Everything just kind of magically fell into place that I had been working on. But then you might go a week, and you're making all the calls, you're setting appointments to follow up on. You might not catch anything that week. And you're thinking, gosh, what am I doing wrong? And it may not be that you're doing anything wrong. It's just you're going to have to get to them the next week. They may need a couple of weeks or 4 or 5 phone calls before they're going to close. And, once you make that adjustment in your head, like you say, it's a simple business, but it has its moments. It can be very difficult. That's for sure.
Absolutely. It's definitely not a business for sissies. That's for sure. It's not a get rich quick kind of business. Now,
No.
can you make great money?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, right? But it's not guaranteed, right? Success is not guaranteed. Results, right, are not guaranteed because you went like sometimes just like me. I was in the business, everyone, for a long time, and I had a week where it's like, man, I've never been this underpaid in my life. I went all flipping week, and I made one sale at the end of the week. And this
Yeah.
is early on in my career, and I'm like, this is no fun. Like, made $300, and I worked this flipping hard, and it's like you and I've experienced that where in your sales career, right? Where you've had a week where, you have this week where it goes and you're like, man, I've never worked so dang hard. And you still don't blank, you still make your hit, but it's not the same. It's like those weeks, right? Sometimes you're underpaid.
Oh,
Would you
yeah,
agree with
very
that?
much so. Because again, Jason, as you know from being in the industry, you might go through a week, you've called everybody, you're doing everything right. But for some reason, they're just maybe they're ready to buy at that point. They're not understanding the value. And there's sometimes that again, it's, I guess you got to sharpen that saw a little bit, because again, I had to build my skill set up as well too. One of the things that I keep reminding myself of early on in my sales career, I saw a picture. It's a couple of guys in a diamond mine, or they're in a mine. They're digging a tunnel. They got their pickaxes with them, and there's this little bit of dirt they're digging into. And on the other side of that wall of dirt is this huge diamond. One of the guys throws his pick over his shoulder and says, "I'm done. I quit." The other guy is still digging, just about to break through. And that's a great picture of what this industry is about, because it can be very easy to sit there and say, man, I've dug this tunnel. I've dug and I've dug and I've done. I'm tired. I'm giving it up. I'm walking away. And you're that far from breaking through. And so, and again, that goes back to your idea of this is a mental game, that you've got to realize that even though you're doing everything right, it doesn't mean you're going to sell policies all day long every day. You're doing it right, but sometimes it's just not going to fall. That's why you keep remembering on the other side of that little bit of dirt is going to be that big diamond. And if you stick with it, keep your nose to the grindstone, keep that motivation, keep moving forward, you're going to start to hit those things.
Absolutely. And I love that. And it is so important for folks to understand. It's a marathon. It's sweaty. It's dirty. It
Yeah.
is. You're gonna get told to go somewhere, and it's not easy. Like when you went to one of my telemastery conferences out in Georgia, like was there anything that was really easy when we were doing role plays and going around the room and we were doing it with everybody? It was a long day, brother. We
Yeah.
worked
I
through
mean,
lunch, didn't we?
again, like you say, it's simple.
Right.
It's one of those things that, again, the tools that you can acquire are pretty simple. They're very common sense, believe it or not. But again, you've got to really develop that. It's almost like a boot camp, if you will, and that when it comes to like overcoming objections and things like that, you've really got to work on those things. I know for me, after I got done with your training with the telemarketing course, um, I actually went home, got in front of a mirror, and as I was going through the presentations, I thought, okay, how does that sound? How does it roll off the tongue? How does it work for Phil? Because Jason, you've obviously got the technique, you've got skill. And I realized I'm not going to be Jason. I've got to be Phil, because if I try to be Jason, I'm going to come across as fake. So I started going through everything on the presentation, and in looking at it, if I could adapt this, it'll be better for me if I present it this way. Jason might use this example. That doesn't work for me. I've got this example that does. And it was literally, I mean, my wife looked at me several times like there he is talking to the mirror again, thinking I've gone crazy. But it was one of those things that as I went over it and over it and over it, then it was in my head. I knew how to transition. I knew how to move, within the presentation effectively enough that I developed that skill. And that would be something that I would recommend to any new agent is you just got to practice. You got to work it and make it yours and own it.
I love that. Being authentic is so important. Like so many folks, like if you think you're just gonna like, oh, I'm gonna read like words on paper and like, ta-da, I'm going to get sales. It's that easy. It's a lie from the pits, everyone. It's
Yeah.
not that way. Like when Phil and I met in Georgia, we trained all stinking day, didn't we,
Yeah. It was
brother?
what, 10 hours, I think,
Didn't get a lunch break, did we? We ate, but we ate at our tables as we were
while we were
working.
training. Yeah.
Absolutely. It wasn't easy. It wasn't soft. Like I wasn't soft on anybody in the room. I'm like, get ready, let's go. But nobody is, and this is, if anyone's been in my telemastery program, they understand in my coaching program, no one's my sock puppet. Not at all. Like you've got to be like the best version of you. And that's
Yeah.
where Phil is the best version of him on that phone. And he's embraced the script, he's embraced the rebuttals, but you're so gifted, you've made it who you are
Well,
on that phone.
I think you have to, Jason, because again, if I'm sitting there going, "Hi, my name is Phil,"
Right.
obviously, click, they're hanging up the phone. They realize, this is just somebody selling me something. One of the terms that I use when we've talked before is establishing those threads of connection. Again, I'm going to find out, again, talk about your beneficiary, who your children are, how old are they, what do they do. I'm going to try to find ways to make connection with that. I know you've got children roughly the same age as mine. So I'm going to use that to make that little thread of connection for us. You're a parent, I'm a parent. And we can both then relate to the need to protect our families because, if something happened to you, obviously, where's that going to leave your family? I want to be able to make those connections because this business is not just about, like you say, the words on a script. It's about making that connection. It's about people. Because again, if they feel that they can relate to you and you can relate to them, one, that establishes trust. You've got that rapport down. I probably spend as much time talking about just personal connection, things like that, as I do about the insurance product that I'm talking about. Again, that's where this has got to be in this business. At least I believe it has to be. And again, if I'm not making those personal connections, you're not going to want to buy a product from me. And one of the biggest compliments that I've gotten as a salesperson is when I'm getting done with somebody, they're like, "Listen, thank you for helping me. But most of all, I feel like I've made a friend today." And I'm like, I do too. And if I can feel that I've made that connection, I mean, there have been people that I know I'm going to have to travel through their area. I've called them up and said, "Hey, listen, what are you doing? Let's go grab a cup of coffee. I'll be there, around such and such a time. If you're available, let's sit down and chat." And we'll go grab a cup of coffee, eat lunch together. And the next thing you know, they're referring business to me. So this is, again, that connection not only helps you with that particular person, but again, they're not just going to tell their friends and family, "Oh, there was some sales agent." They're going to sit there and say, "Hey, you need to talk to this guy, Phil. He helped me with my insurance. We've become friends." And they're like, "Oh, if he's a friend of yours, well, then definitely I'm going to call him." And so to me, that's the magic sauce that goes into making the sales work within the presentation.
And that's so important, brother. I love what you're doing. I'm so crazy proud of you, as you know, and
Thank
proud
you,
of the
man.
team.
I'm here because of you, man.
Well, buddy, you're doing the hard work. I mean, you've taken all the training to heart, and you've just worked, and the blessings that you're seeing now for your own family, not
Yeah.
only financially, but all the fun things you get to do and the trips that you get to take now, and that's a
Yeah.
result of your hard work, brother. It is, and
Well,
what we do is different.
yeah, and that's the thing, Jason, to me is that, again, as you know, I'm very much the family guy. You know, we're in
Absolutely,
scouts, we go on trips. I mean, you know the whole nine yards, a lot like what your family does.
absolutely.
And to me, if I can provide for them while still maintaining that balance of life, which again, as an independent agent, I can do that. This morning, my wife needed me to run pick up some things at the store. So before we got on with our interview today, I ran to the store, picked up those things for her. I can do that because it's my business. And that freedom is something that's absolutely fantastic. And again, that's that motivating thing is that as I start my day, I'm thinking, okay, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this so we can have a better life. And like I said, it's simple, but yeah, it can be hard. It can be frustrating. But knowing that that's my family that I'm doing it for, it's easier to push through those frustrations and those hard times because, I know if I keep working at it, it's going to be happening.
To have that vision, right? Where it's like, you know what you're going to do. Like, you and I've been in situations where it's like our families can be on the beach playing and you and I are working. And then it's
Yeah,
like, when we're done working, now we can go join them on the beach. It's like, this is like what it's about. It's not about, yes, we're kind of doing our thing. We
yeah.
have to, but the telesales flexibility allowing you to do it Phil's way, not Jason's
It-
way. Phil runs his business his way, right? Like, do
yeah.
I ever
Well,
micromanage you, brother? Do I ever ask you, what are your sales? How many activity sheets are you turning in?
nope.
What are you doing for me lately? Has that ever come out of my mouth in all of our years working together, brother? That
Never,
ever happened?
never once. Because, and again, it's one of those things that it's like you say, this is your business. I'm here to help you. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. I guess you're talking about, I'll be your most obnoxious cheerleader.
I am
And that,
obnoxious. You, right for
but
the audience.
but at that point, it's one of those things that if I want to work 8 to 5, 12 to 8, that's up to me. And again, like you, if our family goes down to the beach, I can take my laptop, I can take my work materials with me. I can obviously have my phone with me. And most of my kids now, they're going to sleep in the morning anyway. And so at
Sure.
that point, I'm getting up, having a cup of coffee down at the beach house. I can get on the phone, talk to some people, maybe sell a policy or two. And then, I've got that done by lunchtime. And then I got the rest of the day to spend with my family out on the beach. It's a really versatile business in that way. And so again, if you're looking for something that can provide you with a decent income, I'm not going to say everybody's going to make $1 million, but can you
Truth.
provide a decent income? Yes. Can you have time to spend with your family? Yes. And if that's what you're looking to accomplish, this is certainly a career that can be very beneficial.
Absolutely. And for the audience, notice how Phil here is saying it's a career. This is like a calling, everyone. Like, you've got to really be passionate and love it. If you look at this, okay, industry as it's just a job, okay, it's just a job. I have to do it. I have to do it. You're not going to like it. You're going to probably fail out like 90+% of folks that jump into the industry. Now, part of the failure rate, in my opinion, and even folks that are fully trained, by the way, fail because they don't buy leads, they don't get on the phone, and there's a
Yeah.
plethora of reasons. Okay, so don't get shined on by any place that's like, oh, we're team issue paid all the time and just everybody does this. Don't expect to be Jason. Don't expect to be Phil right away. Okay, it can happen for you, but it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
training. Just like Phil's talking, he's trained, he's practiced more than he played. He invested into himself, not only financially when he flew out to one of the seminars, but also he invested himself into the business that when he gets home, just like my wife thinks I'm crazy sometimes when I'm working on things. Okay. We do the hard things so that we've got the best chance, everyone, of experiencing success. And now, here Phil is, and he's a great six-figure agent that's now done this a couple years, and he's just getting better and better and better. Would you agree with that, brother? Where you're seeing yourself just now, it's like consistent, where before early on, it wasn't always as consistent. And now it's like boom, 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 boom. You're like dropping trees.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, Jason, is that as it's one of those things that, and I've told you, I'm not always a one and done closer.
Sure.
Um, I'm more of a bloodhound. Where again, once I've got somebody who's interested and we've established that rapport, well, then I'm going to continue to follow up on that. I've heard of agents that are like, they'll call somebody a couple of times, and if they can't get it done, they're leaving it. I don't do that. In fact, gosh, not long ago, I closed a client that was working with me, and we were getting things, help for them that have been from March of 2021. And I closed them, I think, in December of 2021. And so again, sometimes it can take a while. It may not be you call somebody and they're going to, buy insurance at that point. It may be something you have to work with. But back to what you were talking about, the passion. One of the things that I think that anybody that's going to get involved in this industry, again, if you're looking at it as a career, you've got to believe in what you're doing. In other
Mhm.
words, if I'm just coming in every day, I'm saying, well, I got to sell some policies today, I'm not going to find success. If I'm looking at it that, one, do I truly believe I can help somebody? Yes, I do. I truly, truly believe that I can help people in this business because let's face it, funeral expenses are not cheap. They can be devastating financially to a family. And if I can provide them with that coverage, get them the best available coverage, the best available price that I can get for them. Then when that day does come for them, their family is protected. And as a result, I've done something to help that person, to help their family. And if you approach it in that manner, that's really, again, part of that magic sauce, if you will, because part of that personal connection is, if I don't care about Jason, if all I see is somebody on a phone and I'm just trying to sell them something so I can make a quick buck, they're going to sniff that a mile away. But if they know that I'm here for you, this is about you protecting your family. Yes, I'm going to make some money off of it, but this is about you protecting your family, my helping you protect that family, giving you the best that's out there. That's where success comes in. And so if you're seeing it as, I'm just going to go make phone calls today, you're losing this game. If you look at it as, I'm going to go out today and I'm going to be able to help some people protect their families, now you're in the game and you're going to be a winner in the game.
Absolutely. And it's, I know you've worked at some starter companies and they aren't bad places by any stretch, but sometimes it's like, I'm going to back the hearse up to the house and we're going to, kind of in some ways, some agencies kind of deploy a little bit of a pressure, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
where we don't. And that's why, our business in our agency has such good people, first off,
Yeah.
which I'm so proud of our culture. And you're one of them. Oh my goodness, brother. I appreciate you to
It's
death. And
extremely supportive. Everybody encourages everybody. It's amazing.
but not having pressure, right? And how we interact, where when we're done with phone calls, the clients are like, I like you, Phil. I like you, Jason.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. Like, and this is kind of a reoccurring theme with a lot of our agents that have come from other starter companies. When they
Yeah.
take care of the clients, we use completely different techniques, everyone. Our stuff ain't canned. Okay. And when we connect with these great folks using our power scripts and using our rebuttaling systems, and we get done with a call and like, I've never been talked to this way. They're not used to the conversations, the way that Phil is connecting with these consumers, the way that our team is connecting. It's just different. It's still hard work, everyone. It's still hard work.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Don't let anybody front you that way. It's a lot of hard work. And it's some days where you're underpaid, some days you're overpaid. But we're not backing up the hearse. We're not pressuring people because our persistency is really darn good. Like Phil's persistency is amazing when
Yeah.
it
I mean,
comes
and,
to
and
that.
that's the thing is, if you're in this industry, of course, you can get it with a chargeback, which means you're
Sure.
losing money. But at the same time, if you've worked with that person and you've got them with the right plan, you've got them something that's going to be comfortable for them to afford within their budget, you know what? They're going to stick with you. If somebody calls, if another agent were to call them up, they're going to be like, no, I know Phil's my agent. Jason's my agent. They're going to be sticking with us. And again, there are so many people out there that they don't even know their agent's name. I'll call them, well, who was your agent? Whatever.
Right.
They couldn't tell you their name or anything like that. Well, they were just really pushy. I find that a lot of folks, that obviously we're persistent. We're looking to overcome, objections and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't think we're coming across as, we're going to cram this down your throat and you have to buy something today. Once I realize that particular individual is in a situation where they're saying, okay, I do need to talk to my wife. And I've gone through the rebuttal, but I realized, okay, obviously they're going to treat their wife. They're interested. They just want to make sure they're doing the right thing. I can follow up on that. And I have a lot of people, again, like for you, that say, listen, I'm really glad you weren't so pushy and trying to get me to buy something I didn't want.
Right.
And I know a lot of agents that try to bump them up in price and coverage. And again, you're just looking for a chargeback then. I want to find something that's going to be comfortable for you, that's going to help your family. If I'm trying to sell you a $50,000 insurance policy when you really don't need that and can't afford it, that's going to go away. It doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do me any good. And like I said a minute ago, my job's to help that person. And if I'm getting them a product that's not going to help them, I'm failing. I'm failing them. And so I've got to find that right price, that right product, and I've got a customer for life.
Absolutely. And I love that. You're doing such great work. And, one thing I know sometimes in the YouTube space, there'll be people that give advice. Okay. I'm on YouTube as well. So judge me. But it's some people in the YouTube space are like, if you don't buy from me, Phil, I've got a 24-hour policy. And if you
Yeah.
don't get this done, I'm going to never call you again because I'm just God's gift to everything. There's stuff like this
Oh
out
yeah.
on YouTube and it's garbage, everyone. Honestly, it's like high pressure garbage. Now, is there okay, reasons to have deadlines? Yes, there are in business. Absolutely. I'm a proponent of this, right?
Yeah.
Say what you mean and mean what you say. Like, I don't bring everybody on to the agency just because our culture matters, right, brother? It
Sure.
does. Like, we've got a very good culture and it's on purpose. And it's not like a lot of agencies out there, as you know, are like, oh, anyone's got a pulse, you got a place. We're not that way.
Yeah. Well, and again, when you're talking about that working with a client, again, you know, the only times that I really start pushing, okay, are one, if they got a birthday coming up, because
Right.
obviously that's going to change the pricing for them.
Mhm.
I know usually around the end of the year, starting the first of a new year, some of the carriers may have price increases. And if I know if carriers are going to have price increases, then I'll mention it. I'll say, Jason, listen, I'm not trying to push you. I'm just putting this bug in your ear that the company we're looking at has mentioned they're going to go up in their premiums after the first of the year. If we can get something done now, I can help save you some money that way. Now, that's got to be your decision. I'd love to help you save that money, but you're the one who knows what your time frame is. And those are really the only times that I'm pushing people because again, for me personally, if you came at me with that, you got to buy it in the next 24 hours, click, I'm hanging up.
Right.
you know, I'm not going to buy on that basis. I'm going to buy on my time, not your time. And so I try to recognize that in the clients that I'm dealing with that, they're on their time. And I don't believe I have some ability to beat them over the head and force them to get a, insurance plan when they're not ready to do it. They're just going to click and hang up on me and never answer the phone again. Whereas if I showed them the respect and the courtesy of recognizing their time frame, I find that I get more back out of that than I ever lose. I mean, there's some that, I may never get back on the phone. I'm sure there's some that I've lost that way, but I think I've got more in than I've lost by using that method.
Oh, brother, when you're making 9 sales in 2 days for 7,513 in AP, you're doing something right. Keep doing that.
You better
So it's like,
believe it.
and it's not even pushing. I know you're like, oh, I kind of push a little bit. You're not even pushing. You're basically pulling that rope along with your consumer saying, hey, no big deal, but I want to make sure you understand
Yeah.
that this is going to happen. This is not false senses of urgency or pressure tactics. When you give a client truth, everyone watching, give them truth about
Yeah.
what's going to take place. This isn't like unicorns and rainbows here. You're not making stuff up. You're not
Nope.
lying to consumers. You're saying, listen, this is reality. I'm here to help you. I thought about you, and I think this may be in your best interest to get this done today. But the decision's up to you, obviously. But I'm just calling you back. And guess what? You'll get more closes than maybe you thought by just being transparent. Too many agents are not transparent in this industry with their consumers. They've got commission breath. I just got
Yep.
to make the sale. I got to make the money. I got to make the money. Brother, do we care about, I mean, at the end of the day, we care about what we get paid, obviously, but do
Sure.
we really care about a consumer, about what the AP is on any case? Because they all work themselves out. Do you really care? I mean, in our
No.
training,
No.
different.
What it is again. Now I've sold policies that had an APV of $2,000 to $3,000. Those are rare. A lot of these folks, particularly the clientele that we're dealing with, they're older, they're on a fixed income. And so it may be only $40, $50 a month that they can afford. Some of it might be $25 to $30. But again, at that point, what I'm looking at is how do I help my client? Because again, maybe they can only get a $3, $4, $5,000 policy because of their budget constraints. You know what? I've at least helped them get that. And again, the mindset really needs to be, I'm not helping Phil. I mean, yes, I get paid. I earn a commission. That's how I make my living. But at the same time, my goal in that conversation is how do I help my client? Not how do I help Phil? How do I help them? And if that's the case, then again, those agents that are sitting there just going sell, 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 my thinking is they're only thinking of themselves. And if they're not thinking of the client, maybe they're getting sales. I don't know. Maybe they're millionaires. But at the same time, they're not helping their client. They're helping them. And I'm going to set a better standard for myself as an agent. Again, I'm a Christian. I'm a scout leader. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I want my family to be proud of me. I want to be able to say at the end of the day that I can look in the mirror and I'm proud of what I did. And if I know I'm helping my client, big, small, whatever, if I'm helping them satisfy their needs, then I've done the job right. I've done it well. And I can come home at the end of the day and be satisfied that I've done that.
Absolutely. And you're doing it like consistently. You're taking care of so many good people and just crazy proud of all these lives. I mean, in 2 days, you saved 9 families
Yeah.
from pain and everything that comes with that if they didn't have you in their lives. And it's like that's power. And
Yeah. Well,
it's like
yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. The biggest regret I've had, and true story here. I was working with a lady that I had been working with her probably a couple of weeks, maybe 2, 3 weeks. Finally, she said, all right, I'm ready to go ahead and get my insurance, but I want to do it tomorrow morning. Now, typical me, I said, no worries, ma'am. I'll call you tomorrow morning. What time? 9 o'clock. Great. I'll call you at 9 o'clock. We'll get this done. My biggest regret there, I called at 9 o'clock in the morning. Her daughter, who I'd also been talking with, answered the phone. She says, Mr. Batten, I hate to tell you this, but Mama passed away last night. She had a massive heart attack. I felt that maybe I should have been that agent that pushed more. I thought maybe I should have done that because then at that point, their family would have been getting a $20,000 check from the insurance company rather than a $20,000 bill from the funeral home. But that just reminds me again, as much as I may regret that, it still reminds me again, though, of how much we help. Because again, this is the difference, between a family getting a funeral bill and a family getting a check from the insurance company. And whether that's a $2,000 check, a $10,000 check, a $50,000 check, it's what they need, it's what they can afford. And if I can help them do that, that's so much better than finding out that somebody died and did not have that coverage. And a success story, just on the opposite side of that, I had one lady, Mildred, and Mildred would like ghost me. I would call her on the phone and I'd recognize her voice and she'd say, oh, no, this is her cousin. And I'm going like, no worries. When can I call Mildred back? Stuff like that. But finally, I just kept at it. And finally, Mildred bought insurance. Regrettably, last week, Mildred passed away. But at the same time, I knew that because I was persistent, because I did continue to follow, as that bloodhound that I described myself as, Mildred's family's protected. And so again, people want to look at us as salesmen and say, or salespeople, I should say, and say, you guys are, what rock did you crawl out from under? What they don't really realize is, no, we're not taking advantage of people. That's not our goal. I know that's not my goal. I know that's not your goal. It's not the goals of the agents in our agency. But our goal is to make sure these folks are protected. And again, I think that's what makes you, that's what makes me, that's what makes our agency different than other people that are out doing this. That again, it's not about us. It's about protecting that family and making sure that they're covered.
Absolutely. And just knowing that what you do matters, right? When you're done and it's like garden people bringing checks, through the hands of these insurance companies, these great people, all of our men and women just taking care of these people in the most professional way possible.
Certainly.
It's amazing to take care of great people and then know that at the end of the day, when that death claim happens, I had one just yesterday, brother. Didn't even mention it in the group chat, but I had one myself that I took care of, a death claim yet again. And it's a blessing to take care of people at their time of need and to know that, what, I'm glad we worked so hard. You know what? I'm glad I went that extra mile and that extra rebuttal. And our rebuttals, by the way, just so everyone knows in the industry, is there one thing that is abrasive in our rebuttaling systems, our CRT, any of that?
No, it's all basically, we recognize, yes, they have this concern. Okay. They've raised a concern. We call it an objection.
Because most people talk about these objections like, you say this, I say that, you say this, I say that. And it's so just caustic sometimes in the industry.
No, it's basically recognizing, yes, okay, I get it, Mr. Jason. I understand that, you want to talk to your wife. I think you told me your wife's name is Beth. Is that right? And let's get Beth involved in this. In fact, Jason, if you'd like, let's get Beth on the phone. That way we can have her with us while we're discussing this. We can go over any questions she may have. I want to make sure that not only you know everything, I want to make sure that Beth knows everything, because you guys are obviously a team. Let's get this done together. And so again, it's not about, oh, well, don't worry about getting Beth included. Buy this today, right now. You've got to do it in the next 24 hours.
Right, let me squeeze you,
Yeah, no, I mean, because again, like me personally, do I want my wife involved? Yes. And I'm going to have her involved in that sort of decision. So again, I'm going to recognize that. But again, it's not a caustic, oh, well, you're crazy for wanting your wife involved. It's like, yes, let's get her involved. Let's make it happen. Let's get everybody that needs to be involved in the room. And that way, again, we can make sure that everybody's satisfied, that everybody's comfortable, and that our needs are being met.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of your wife, how does your wife feel about before we met and you paid and went to a conference, and now you're getting it done and continue to get it done all the years you and I've been together now on our team, and then now you're 6-figure plus, okay, taking care of your beautiful family. How does your wife think? What does she think about what's going on now compared to what happened in the past? And you worked hard in the past, by the way. I respect everything you've ever done. Okay. What you've done before insurance was not easy. Okay. And it's an underthanked profession, hard.
Yeah. I was a school teacher. I retired from being a public school high school teacher. And as you know, they pay high school teachers $1 million a year.
Right.
So again, it was a budget that we could work with. I mean, we weren't starving. We were paying the bills and stuff like that. But now it's a situation to where, as before, if we want to go out to dinner, we got a family of 5. Okay. So to go out to dinner, even just to go out to McDonald's is, going to be expensive. Whereas, when I was a teacher, going out to dinner, it's like, oh, wow, do we have the money in the budget for that? How are we going to cut the grocery budget to be able to go out to dinner? How are we going to adjust this so we can afford these things? Now, again, we're not going crazy. It's one of those things. At the same time, we're trying to stay with pretty much the same budget we had when I was teaching. So that way we're saving money. But at the same time, if we wanted to go out to dinner, we can afford to do that. If we want to go do something over the weekend, we can do that. My oldest son's 15th birthday, he wanted to go down to the Outer Banks. We live in North Carolina, go on the Outer Banks on the beach and go hang gliding. We got a place down there where the Wright brothers invented flight. And so we went out there and he wanted to try hang gliding. Now, when I was teaching, I would have had to have scrimped to have gotten that together. Now in this career, I can say, okay, I've got the money that we can do that. Again, I can't do it every weekend, but I can say, yes, we can go do that. We can go have some fun. Let's go do some hang gliding. And so as a family, it's given us a lot more freedom to do things that we want to with a whole lot less worry. And it's an amazing feeling. Because again, we try to live as debt-free as we can. We're paying off debt that we have. We're saving for the retirement years. And so again, having that financial ability to do those things as the provider for my family makes me feel fantastic.
Your wife's got to be so proud of you. I mean, you're doing the hard work, brother. You are. I mean,
I'll come out and say, when that one day, over, like I said, those 2 days where we closed those 9 policies,
goodness, yes.
She was like, that's amazing. How did you do that? And I'm just like, well, there were people. Now, the week before, Jason, I think I closed 1.
Right.
But it was
still a good week, but you were underpaid last week, brother. You were underpaid last week.
And it was like I told you, I've only sold like 1, but I've got a lot that I set up that I think will close at the beginning of the week. And boom, they all closed at the beginning of the week. And so again, don't think that your phone calls, just because they don't close that day, aren't successful. You're setting things up down the road. And if you follow up and do the things that you've promised your clients you're going to do, success will follow there. Yeah, no, my wife is loving it. It gives us a lot of freedom. We homeschool our kids. So she's tied up most of the day working with them. So if there's errands that need to be ran, like I said, this is my business. If I want to go run an errand in the afternoon, I can go run an errand this afternoon. If I need to go do something in the morning for our family, I can go do something in the morning. Again, the flexibility and the financial rewards have really been a blessing.
That's so awesome. I'm just crazy proud of you, brother. It's fun. And it's like with our team, a lot of folks, just for the audience, if you ever need me, and by the way, Phil is a pro. He's been with me for quite a few years now. if you ever need me, how long does it take you, just for the audience, for you to get a hold of me if you need me? How long does that process take? Whether it's a weekend, whether it's a night,
Yeah.
whether it's early morning, how long does this take? Just so the audience understands.
I don't think it's been longer than 30 minutes on any given time, if that much. Um, you'll put up on our group chat that I'm on a Zoom meeting, but if you need me, send me a text. I'll get back to you ASAP. And there's been times that, I've had a question. Despite that I've been doing this a few years now, every once in a while something comes up that you go, hey, what was that? And so I'll send Jason a text, call me when you have the opportunity. Within the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm getting a call from Jason. And every once in a while I might say, hey, listen, I'm doing this right now. I'm going to get you here. Give me about 10, 20 minutes. Perfect. No worries. But that, again, that support level that you're providing the agents in your agency, Jason, has been absolutely amazing. Because again, particularly with some of the newer agents, I'll see it on our group chat, they've got a lot of questions because they're new. They haven't experienced a lot of those things. And the feedback is almost instantaneous. And to have that level of support as an agent is extremely helpful, very helpful.
Was that ever your experience, like with your past, IMO that you're with? Was that ever your experience with your past one? Were they
No,
responsive? Did you even have your agency owner popping off very often to reach and
um,
touch the agent force real often? Or was it just like every now and then? Like
every
on
now
group
and
chats
then.
and stuff?
In fact, within that agency, and again, I'm not trying to talk bad about the gentleman, but
Of course.
it was one of those things that you had to schedule a phone call with him. That he had a phone call scheduled, and so it's like, okay, he's got a time tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Well, I need the answer within the next 30 to 40 minutes. I've got a customer that I'm working with. If I have to wait till tomorrow, I may not get them back on the phone, and as a result, I may lose that sale. But within our agency, like I say, I mean, if I waited a half an hour for you to get back to me, I'd be surprised.
Hey, and it's like, that's the great thing. It's like, if a call comes in, I'll text, hey, you need me ASAP. I'll burn this thing. I'll dump this call for you. If this is ASAP, you're like, oh no, give me a holler
Yeah,
when you're done. We
and
communicate well.
yeah, and another thing that's really fantastic about our agency, Jason, is that, and I try to do this when I can. I've noticed other agents do it when they can. That if
Absolutely.
somebody's not gotten an immediate response, because maybe you're doing training or whatever, and you've said, I'm in training. If you need me ASAP, let me know. Then somebody might come in and say, oh yeah, well, hey, here's the right carrier for this person. If they've got those conditions, here's who you need to go through. You need to do a guaranteed issue. You need to do graded, modified,
Absolutely.
or you can get a level plan with this particular provider. So not only are you doing that, but we've got other agents that have got that experience that are providing that for the newer agents as well. So again, it's a multi-level of providing information for people.
And it's exciting to have good, men and women on the team like yourself and other veterans, right, that have joined the agency, that have done it for a long time. They're bringing their strengths to the agency, right? Just like there's nothing we don't do for each other. It's like, yes, Phil is for himself, but he's never by himself. Like
Yeah,
he can do whatever he wants to do. He knows he's got training multiple times a week if
yeah.
he wants to hop in, and if he doesn't, that's fine. Like, but our trainings aren't, oh, watch Jason talk and just
No,
text
not at
me.
all.
It's like our family is very much like a work, family. Like we actually care about each other.
Yeah, and
Like,
I've had other agents that would call me up and say, hey, I've got some questions. You seem to be getting some things right. And
absolutely.
at that point, they'll be like, can I give you a call? You know what? I'm like, yeah, give me a call. Now, again, is it taking me off the phone? Yeah, for maybe a half hour to an hour, I may be off the phone. I'm not getting dials in, but you know what? This is a new agent. Maybe they're struggling. Maybe they're at that point, like I said, they got that much further to dig through before they get the diamond. And they're wondering, what am I doing wrong? Do I still want to do this or whatever? You know what? You helped me. You helped me get to dig through that part. You kept me going. You gave me the tools to be able to get through that rest of that little bit of that wall. If I can do that for another agent, you know what? I'm willing to do that. I'm happy to do that. And that's, like you say, the culture of our agency. There's another Jason that's a really, really strong agent in our agency. And, he and I have gotten to be work bros, if you will. We'll
Absolutely.
encourage each other. When he's not doing well, I'm like, listen, man, you still got this, brother. Don't worry about it, man. You're awesome. same thing. We've got that back and forth going. There's never any, well, man, you're a clown, or hey, stop bragging, or anything like that. There's nothing of that sort in our agency. It's very supportive. It's a willingness to help, to share lead vendors, to share CRMs, whatever it is that we're using. That's always been there. And again, just a fantastic agency, very supportive. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. And if I can help others, I'm happy to do that, and glad to do that as well.
Absolutely. And we've got a lot of great agents that work for different starter companies, that they're not bad companies, everyone. There's a lot of good companies out there in the industry, but not all companies will guard their culture the same. Not all, just like dogs, right? You got good dogs, you got bad dogs, you got one that bites you in the face, right? You got one that's just like sitting there peeing on himself. It just depends on the dog. And I'm no perfect dog, by the way, everybody. Don't let me fool you. I'm not perfect at all. I do my dangdest, okay? But I'm not perfect either. Extremely proficient, just like Phil is extremely proficient. But you're going to have your own moments, okay, where you fumble over your own tongue on your script, or you do something that like, oopsie. At least the beautiful part about telesales, see, I'm flubbing over my own tongue, brother. But I was saying, beautiful part about telesales is we can have our script in front of us and the client can't see it. So it's okay.
And Jason, here's the thing, like for new agents, you know what? If you do stumble over your words, own it.
Exactly.
Own it. Don't go, oh, yeah. I mean, if that's the case, I'm sitting there saying, man, you know what? I haven't had enough coffee yet this morning, ma'am. I am so sorry. I'm just, apparently I have forgot how to make my tongue work. If you'll give me a second, I'm going to go back over that, so I make sure you understand it. And 9 times out of 10, the customer, the client, is laughing with me. Don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. If you make a mistake, I know there's been a couple of times, maybe one of our carriers had recently changed rates. They went up. And I told one lady, I quoted her a rate that was from their previous rate chart. And I had to come back into it and say, ma'am, you know what? I said, I've got to tell you something. I messed up. I was looking at an old rate sheet. I need to tell you, this is the actual rate. And I've told you from the get-go that I was going to give you, all the right information. I was going to give you the honest information, tell you the truth about these policies, give you everything up front. I messed that up. I hope you will forgive me, because I certainly did not mean to mislead you, but this is the actual rate. It's a couple of dollars more. It's not much, but I wanted to let you know, ma'am, I made a mistake.
The nice thing is we just own it, brother. That's the good thing. I mean, and Phil, brother, you've seen me in the group chat, because we're involved all the time. Have I made mistakes?
Yeah.
I had a couple of them, right?
Certainly.
Where it's like,
we all do.
And I owned it. I'm like, hey guys, sorry, oopsie, that's actually level. My bad. Shouldn't have knee-jerked that. I'll own it. That wasn't modified. That's level. My bad. And it's like, do I not own it on the group chat? Like, just so everybody knows, I ain't perfect either. I do my damnedest, but I'm not perfect.
Well, and that's the thing is, again, in establishing that rapport with the client, to come in and say, you know what, I messed up. I didn't mean to, Mr. Jason. I'm really, really sorry. I obviously looked at the wrong rate sheet. That's my mistake. I hope you forgive me. Most of the people, again, if you've taken the time to develop that rapport, they're going to understand that. They're going to realize that you're human. You're going to stumble over your words. You're going to miss something here or there. And again, that happened to me just the other day. And I've been doing this a couple of years, and I got the wrong rate sheet. But again, it was one of those things that, those things are going to happen. Nobody's going to get everything perfect in any interaction with the customer that you're dealing with. But again, if you've established that relationship, if you've built those threads of connection, they're going to be willing to forgive you. I mean, if it had been a $50 a month difference, I don't think they would have forgiven me. But
you may have been off their Christmas card list right at 50. But
but again, if you're a real person, be a real person. Don't just read. Be a real person. Be Phil. Be Jason. Be whoever, and be who you are. Folks are going to work with you. Again, not everybody. I don't sell 100% of the calls I make by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're going to be yourself and you're going to connect with these people, you know what? They're going to appreciate that. They really, really will.
It's true. Like, being the best version of ourselves possible. We just own it. Then we can overcome it if we own it. Right.
Sure.
We're like, hey, I stepped in it. My bad. Oh, hey, oops. My apologies. Like, it makes us who we are. We're human beings. Like, no one expects us to be perfect. We just want to be as proficient as possible to guard the greatest generation on the planet. Like, we're guarding some really great people, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you all
a
know.
lot of these folks, particularly my older clientele, they were born before and during World War II.
Exactly.
They saw those things as children, or they would have, or their parents did, and they would have then heard those tales. So again, to me now, like I said, I was a former teacher. I was a history teacher, and so a lot of times it's like, I noticed, I had a lady that was on the phone born in 1945. And so I asked her, I said, wow, you came there, you were born right there at the end of World War II. You must have seen some fascinating things. They hadn't seen jet planes yet when they were born. They got to see the evolution of that. My children were born, jet planes, cell phones, computers, internet. These are folks, it's like, they've seen all of this develop. And if you take the time to ask them those questions, if they're talking about themselves, guess what's being done? Threads of connection. Threads of connection.
So important. Absolutely valuable. So I appreciate you, sharing with the audience, your experience, brother. Crazy proud of you. You're just continuing to get greater and greater and greater. My
Well,
goodness.
I don't know about all that. I hope so, but you know me, I'm pretty humble.
Yeah, you are, buddy. But you're amazing. You got crazy skill. You're crazy gifted. And my goodness, to be able to do as many sales as you did in 2 days, brother, I don't know too many people in the industry that have accomplished.
I know one by the name of Jason that does that all the time when he's out there on the phone, but
just maybe. Yeah, but my goodness, brother, I'm a unicorn, and you're a unicorn now too. Brother, welcome to the stable.
Okay, I'll wear the horn
awesome.
Proudly. Jason,
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure as always. Thank you for all the support you give me and the rest of our agency. So, man, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, my friend.
You too, buddy. Thanks for all you're doing. Thanks for everything you do. And my goodness, if anybody needs help out there, feel free to reach out, jasonfinalexpense.com. I'll serve in any way I can. Thank you so much. Phil, you can lead us out. Bye, buddy.
We'll see you later.